Hello everybody. Welcome to CyberCon 2020. My name is Thomas Carter Rochester, aka the son of Dale.
And my name is David Thompson, aka Where is the Green Ranger? You are Mr. Green Ranger. Where is he in this movie, man?
I'll explain in a moment, but this is Lights, Thunder, Action. David, the Green Ranger was the White Ranger. You are so young that you don't even know how it worked out.
Dude, this was such a trip watching this movie because what's funny is I think I had seen it when I was maybe... Okay, I am not a big Power Rangers person. Like, this is what I think is going to be fun about this conversation because, like, I grew up watching it, but, like, I probably haven't seen Power Rangers literally maybe, like, 15 years. But I remember when I was sitting there watching last night, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have seen this. Like this is a memory banked way back in my head. Like when all of a sudden Ivan Ooze popped up, I'm like, I know Ivan Ooze. I know this guy. This is what everyone was talking about when they were I remember when the Apocalypse Entertainment Weekly pictures came out and they were all comparing him to Ivan Ooze. Dude. Yeah, so this was super fun. I really enjoyed watching this movie because it felt like my first time, but also like there's some deep memories that I had to kind of pull back up.
Yeah, there's some deep cuts in there. There's a lot of really deep cuts, a lot of jokes that went unnoticed for 20-something years, which, we're embarking upon, like, the 25th anniversary of this movie, which hurts me in my soul to know that I've been alive for something to be, 25 years old, and I remember it vividly like it's yesterday, seeing it the first time.
So how many times have you seen this movie, Thomas?
More than I can count. So,
okay.
Which you know from our work at the gym that after 5, I cannot count anymore. I just lose track of the number. So, I genuinely don't know. I watched it on repeat. I'm pretty sure I wore out the VHS tape when we first bought it. So, a lot. I know it enough that after I haven't seen this in the full movie in 15 years or more.
Right.
And I could instantly quote it, like most of the opening of the movie.
That's funny. Yeah.
Be the swallow. Be the swallow.
I was like, what's going on? But my first, it was funny because, I don't know, I hit play, I'm like, all right, yeah, Power Rangers, like, maybe I'll remember, like, I don't even really remember watching this specifically. I also have, like, 100 questions. Anyway. But when the White Ranger started snowboarding, skydiving, I'm like, I remember this. This is so cool. Like I vividly remember that. Like if I remember anything, it was the snowboard skydiving.
Yo, you know what's funny about that scene is watching it, I'm like, wow, I remember being a kid and going, how did they film this?
Right.
And now I'm like, oh, it's green screen. Like easy.
Yeah.
And then they do the diving part where they're not close up on their face, and it's like, oh yeah, this is great. And then I go, how did they film this?
Yeah, no. So from what I could gather, it was like when it was close up, they were actually, it was like the green screen, like they were just having wind blowing on their faces. But then when it was pulled back, it was actually like skydiving, right?
That was actually skydiving.
Yeah.
Which again, in 1995, I'm genuinely curious how they shot that, because that looks crisp. That is some of the most crisp footage in the whole movie.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that is like, and it's an
it
action
genuinely
scene.
is.
Yeah. Mind-boggling.
So I have a question.
I don't know technology. Yes. I might have an answer.
So the Power Rangers movie, right? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But there was also a show. So like were these Power Rangers also a part of the show and then they made the movie? Is that what it was? Okay.
History lesson for you, young Padawan.
Yes, thank
1993, in August, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers premiered. October 20th or 19th, I can't remember the exact date, but it's one of those two, of 93, the Green Ranger premiered. Then after they ran out of footage, because it's a Japanese show that they turned American. I don't know if you know that, but...
Did not.
Wow. Education time.
Yes, thank you.
They brought they brought the Green Ranger back, Tommy Oliver, aka Jason David Frank, to become the White Ranger, which they were planning to do originally.
Okay.
And he was supposed to go on a different show, but parents petitioned and sent letters, and they got so much fan mail that they brought Tommy back because he was supposed to stay off. In the Japanese version, he dies, so that's a super bummer.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, yeah, so they had a lot of footage that they had to refilm. So then they brought in the White Ranger, and around season between, okay, it's complex. So Rocky, Aisha, and Adam, that was one of the first things that they filmed was actually the movie, the actors. They shot the movie before they shot the show, because they had, well, that season, they had a lot of footage already lined up. You know, they shot, I think they averaged maybe 2 episodes a week on what they were shooting, because, you know, they had half of it already shot in the animation, the Japanese footage, and half English and American. So they shot it that way. They had to shoot this movie, and that was one of the first things they genuinely did. I think they shot 5 episodes or something is the story. It's a very small number of episodes they shot. Right. Went and shot the movie and came back. So the movie technically is not canon.
Oh, you're kidding.
Which is probably my second, no, it's my first biggest gripe. It's not canon, yeah. So in the show, they get their ninjetti powers from Ninjor. Makes sense, right? And
was that the great power? Or is that just like when they were just the Power Rangers like power?
Yeah,
I was so confused about some stuff.
Don't worry, man.
Right.
But in the show, it's Ninjor. Ninjor gives them their powers. Their Zords get completely destroyed. They don't lose it because Zordon gets knocked out of his time chamber. It's a totally different plot.
Yeah.
Which is the only issue that I have with the movie, is that it is not canon in the show, in the run of the series.
That stinks.
But here's why. You know Fox. Good old Fox. Our best friend, man.
I noticed it was a Fox film.
It's a Fox film, so that would be why. The Fox Television and Fox movie, they had some kind of, you know, marital issues, classic. And so they weren't allowing it to flow. So it's not a canon, which is why we're talking about the movie, not the show, because, boy, you have a lot to learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So what's funny to me is, it's funny you mentioned it was Fox. Like, just kind of getting into it, like starting from the top. There's a scroll at the beginning, and I'm like, "What? Right? I think there's Star Wars or something. What is this?" But it was cool. Like, it actually set it up, and it was different. But it was like, it was very Star Wars like, and it even the dun 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 at the beginning. I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I'm watching Star Wars. They clicked the wrong link. But no, it was cool, and I would like to say just the like hype moments of them like suiting up each time, I enjoyed each time. And it happened probably like 4 major times in this movie. Like the first time when they first like, you know, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they just put on their normal like suits. And then when they like get the it's like the animal power when they're on that one planet. And another thing, the
ninjetti power.
The ninjetti power, and those cool, like almost like ninja looking, like those were dope. Those were like the coolest thing in the movie, in my opinion. Like I like those a lot.
That made it into the show. And so did the Tengu Warriors. I don't know how to say their name without saying it like that.
And then so there was that. Then there was the next one where they get like the great power and they like get back into their normal suits. And then obviously there was it was actually so cool. Like, honestly, it brought back so many memories. Like, when they go Power Rangers. And then they put on it's the crazy Transformers, like, assembling. And they're in the whole...
Zords?
Yes.
You don't even know the name. You're so cute, Padawan.
I'm not a big Power Rangers guy, man. But it was definitely enjoyable to watch. Like, I enjoyed myself, I think, more than I thought I was going to. Like, there was so many things that just stuck out to me. Like I remember you talking to me about how there was like so much CGI used, and we should really talk about that because like some of it was like, okay, this looks like a cartoon, and some of that was on purpose almost. Like there were some parts where it is like a kid's movie in a way. Like I remember one part, someone's head gets like kind of like smashed, and his eyes almost do that like the animated like thing, and it was fun to see them kind of experimenting almost with the CGI and how they'd use it, especially with the ooze. Like, watching it, I almost forgot how pivotal, and I almost like Ivan Ooze and this whole thing's ooze, and it was fun to watch a villain just be this evil villain almost in a way, because we're used to now and like Marvel and which are like, you know, deeper characters that's like, oh, you relate to them, like oh, this villain, like, he's so good because you can actually, like, see his point of view. No, with Ivan Ooze, just this guy's just pure evil, you know?
Yeah, no, he's pure evil and still he's in my top 2 favorite characters. It's him and Dulcia.
Dulcia
but for
is
2
awesome.
Totally different reasons.
You know who Dulcia reminds me of?
No.
Rebecca Ferguson. She would be Dulcia in modern day age.
Rebecca Ferguson.
You know who Rebecca Ferguson is. She's in
I do, but I'm not picturing
Mission
it.
Impossible. I think she's like a British actress.
Yes, you are correct.
Yes.
I know exactly who you're talking about. They do look a lot alike.
And they just sound alike, but they kind of like act the same. Dude, she should have been in it more. She was such a good character. She was so cool.
So with Ivan Ooze, he is just absolute pure camp. You know, like, ha! Where's my autograph book? The Power Rangers, huh? I see Zordon still using children to do his dirty work.
Like I smell them. And...
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, smells like
teenagers.
Like, those are my 2 top quotes right there from the movie. I love those quotes, and I quote them regularly.
Yeah, I'm seeing some like, quotes in the chat. This is funny. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Yes. That actually made me laugh. I missed the Brady Bunch reunion show.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch reunion. Like, dude, it's so
It was funny because
bonkers.
It's like, he's been down there for 6,000 years. It's not that he missed the actual show Brady Bunch. It's that he missed the reunion show.
Just the reunion.
Such a dated like joke, but it was so great.
So, you know, you've got Ivan Ooze, who's just pure camp, very 90s, over the top, you know, Jim Carrey style, which is why he's up there with my favorite characters, top 2. But then you have Dulcia, which is a very serious character who, I don't know how to say this without it coming off a certain way, but she's gorgeous. Yeah. I wish I were as in shape as she was. Like, holy crap, dude. Like, I was jealous that I used to have abs and they still weren't as good as hers.
She should have been in it more, man. Like, she was such a cool character.
She was. Fun fact, they cast someone else, then recast her. Oh. There's a long story that, I'll send you a link to the behind the scenes. It's like an hour on YouTube. It's great. I highly recommend it. You learn a lot. But she's probably got one of the hardest characters to portray in the movie because she's the fulcrum, if you will. Without her, the movie cannot go forward.
Yeah, no.
And she kills it. Like, as an actor, I admired her performance so much. It was perfectly subtle, but perfectly serious and genuine. Like when Adam's like, I'm a frog, and she's like, well, of course. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, I wish I were a frog.
Bro, I have a thing with frogs. I'm like deathly afraid of them, so I'm like, I hate the Black Ranger, man. I do not like frogs. I'm like, why is this guy a frog robot? I don't like this. That's just me being weird.
So really quick, there's a quote here. Here comes that cute little pink ranger to the rescue. Oh, so you think she's cute too, huh?
Bro, his little, like, okay, yeah, so I had another question. The other, like, villains, so there's the 2 that get thrown in the snow globe, and then the other 2...
Rita and Zed.
Yep, and then we have the other 2, and they...
Goldar and Pig Guy. I don't know Pig Guy.
I don't know Pig... Well, obviously I don't. But they were in the show, no?
Pig Guy was not in the show, which is why I don't know him. Goldar was. Lord Zed and Rita were. Rita was season 1 villain. Lord Zed was season 2 villain. He was the replacement of Rita, and he destroyed the Rangers, which is why they needed to get new Zords. I'm trying to remember. Ninjetti was season 3, so yeah. So they did that, and Goldar was a henchman for the first. Damn, he might have gone into Turbo. Or Zeo, maybe.
Beats me.
He's a henchman. Yeah, they were in there. My quote about Pig Guy, he sounds like Harley Quinn a little bit.
Sounds like Harley Quinn a little bit.
Sounds like Harley Quinn. That's my note. That's my only note for him because he said something.
Oh, we got a question.
And that's not a fair question. I am my favorite Power Ranger.
I think just visually you can see the answer. Yeah. So is that Tommy? Is that your favorite? All right, explain that to me. He's a White Ranger. Why is he the Green Ranger?
He started, all right, season 1, they had the Green Ranger, the Dragon Zord, the Dragon Ranger. A lot of different names for him. I'm going to call him the greatest of all time. I'm biased, obviously.
That's fair.
So the Green Ranger was created from Evil. Green with Evil is still probably my favorite arc from Power Rangers all time. It's a 5-episode, literally it took place over a whole week. When you watch it, it basically comes out to about a 2-hour movie. I mean, without commercials, it becomes a 20. That's 100 minutes. It's about an hour and a half. It is a fantastic arc, but he gets picked by Rita. She makes him an evil Green Ranger. Then he breaks free of it, joins the Power Rangers, is a good Green Ranger. Eventually, she creates a candle because they were running out of footage. That candle, once it dwindles down, it's dwindled down by his powers being used. He's no longer the Ranger. He's no longer a Ranger. The Green Ranger powers are gone, disintegrated, bye-bye.
Okay.
So they created a new Ranger, which was the White Ranger, created from the purest of something. I don't remember the exact quote. And he becomes the leader of the Power Rangers, which is also around the same time that the Red Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, and the Black Ranger left the show due to contract disputes because Haim Saban didn't care about paying you money. They knew that they could keep you on a SAG contract, and no matter how much money they made off of merchandising, exactly. Welcome to the 90s.
Yeah, it was so clear that the White Ranger, like Tommy, was the lead Ranger, and it was.
Oh yeah.
It was funny to me. It was like, is anyone else gonna get some lines here or there or anything? Because like, I mean, they did, but like
here or there, yes.
Exactly. Kevin in the chat saying the choreography. I thought the choreography was like ahead of its time. I mean, I imagine there was like stunt people in the Ranger suits when they were doing all that, but like, holy crap, some of it was really good, and like, I mean, it was noticeable. Like some of you could almost notice they were on like those like wires when they like flying and stuff, but the kind of close up work they were doing, I thought was actually like really good work.
Yes, and that is the best part of like every Power Ranger series is always what they do in the stunt, like in the suit, because you know those are stunt actors, and it is literally just they're a unit B, and they go through the entire thing, and they film the whole series in those suits, and they do all the fight team. Now, the best part about the stunt and fight choreography, we'll get to this question in just a moment, is the fact that most of what they do is camera tricks. So you don't see it that much in the movie, but in the show, when they have a monster and they stomp down near the Rangers and the Rangers dodge out of the way, it's just camera tricks. So the banana would be the monster, and they focus on the monster there, and then they drop it, and then the Rangers are super far away, and they jump out of the way.
Right.
That's like my favorite thing from Power Rangers, because it's so simple, and that's why they were able to shoot it in the way they were, as fast as they were, because of just cinematography tricks. And you know me, I'm a cinephile about certain specific techniques.
They had some there was one part, I think it was the Red Ranger, where he like had to do like a split, and he like put his like feet against the wall. That was dope.
I always tried to do that, and I got to a point where I could. I was second.
So answering that question, I'm trying to think of one.
I will let you think, but out of all the lines, and I quote them a lot, my favorite one is Earthquake, because every time I shake something, you know, I do it all the time. Earthquake! Earthquake! Like, it's my favorite line because it fits everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially when you're video chatting with people. It's like, Earthquake!
That's a funny one. I can't remember one specifically, but I loved when Ooze was handing out all the ooze to everyone. He was just like busting rhymes. I'm like, what is happening? It was so like out of place, but I loved it. Like, it was so like in character for him just to be kind of like randomly almost like beatboxing out here as he's handing out the free ooze. I love the ooze. It was so cool. Like, you almost wanted to like play with it. Like, it was actually kind of smart for him, just like, oh, here's all the free ooze. Like, here we go. And I remember that as a kid. Like, I do specifically remember seeing that as like a child, like the ooze, and wanting to play with it.
I'm gonna answer this question really fast. No, probably not. You know, relationships fall apart. That's why divorces happen, and we can just look at it as a divorce between the two. Things happen. I respect their privacy, and I mean, there are a lot of people in the world who don't talk to other people, so just sucks for us fans that they're a part of a very specific unit that entered the Power Ranger world. But maybe one day when they're old and gray, and I mean like 60s, 70s, maybe 80s, we don't know what technology is going to do. They'll be able to reconcile and be like, meh, bygones. So who knows? All right, David, I want to know, you said you had lots of questions. I want to answer a couple of them for you.
All right.
As best I can.
Sounds good. So one, this nice guy hero emperor fellow, what's his deal? I really liked his character.
Zordon?
Yeah, Zordon.
Wow. Oh, man.
You like that comparison?
Yes, I did. I was like, who are you talking about?
He literally looks like the Emperor from, like, Return of the Jedi. Like, that's how, I think it's how his makeup works.
Oh, man. Okay. All right, I raisin face. I get you. And raisin suit thing, which still creeps me out.
Yeah.
His breathing, I think they had something pumping up his suit because his breathing was off from his chest to his belly. So that's just a little practical effect that I noticed. So Zordon is Zordon of Eltar is an old dude.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. So he, in the newest movie, 2017's movie, he was a Power Ranger. We don't know whether he was a Power Ranger or not. He's just been fighting evil for millennia.
Right.
He is trapped in a time chamber to, resist them. And in the show, he gives the Power Rangers their power. He chooses teenagers with attitude, and he selects them, and he gives off the rules of the Power Rangers. They get their power from him. He is able to... It's canon, so the comics are canon. He's able to tap into the morphing grid himself, which is how they morph. Okay. What other that's the best I got for you in terms of a short explanation.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Otherwise, we'll go off on Tangent Town for 20 minutes.
For sure. I guess I have less questions. I just kind of have little points I want to touch on. I forgot how galactic Power Rangers was. Like I almost when we were all of a sudden going to space, I'm like, oh right, like this whole movie is like it's all about it. Ooh, I love this question.
That is a great question. Boy. If I could write a Power Rangers movie, I would definitely make myself the Green Ranger, the Dragon Ranger. Now, whether I'm Tommy Oliver or not, my name's Thomas, so I will argue that I should be. Doesn't matter. As long as I'm that specific Ranger, I'll be fine. Make me some other character. Make me the original Green Ranger.
Yeah, I would,
Exciting.
I think just from me coming from someone who's like a big Marvel DC guy, if I was writing a Power Rangers movie, I would kind of get to it really quickly. Like, I wouldn't focus on an origin story. Because even in this movie, it was nice not, like, having to see them get their powers. Like, we kind of just get right into it. Yeah. Which I think they could almost pull, like, an Incredible Hulk kind of thing. Where they just kind of, at the very beginning, montage, kind of, like, maybe show that. And then we just jump right into it.
Yeah.
I think... Okay. Yeah, like, I think...
See, you're definitely a writer. I'm just an actor that wants to roll.
I think something, like, in modern day, that would be a really cool way to work the Power Rangers would be kind of... Especially, like, the galactic stuff is almost a bit Guardians of the Galaxy-like, where we're going to maybe, like, 3 planets during the... Maybe, like almost like a chase of sort. I think that'd be super cool. Like, they have, like, their main hub, and they could, like, fight, and... I mean, nowadays, imagine this movie with current CGI. It looked so cool. Like,
bro, I have imagined this movie with CGI. Yeah. Like modern day, that's my genuinely only gripe is that it's meh, but for the time, it is amazing because it's 1995. And let's be real, the first movie that did CGI as aggressively as they did and succeeded was Phantom Menace in 99. Which we all know George Lucas is going to write the book on effects, I
thought about that. I'm like, oh, this is, 4 years before Phantom Menace. And you could see the I mean, I guess there's money involved, too. Like, there's a lot more money going to Star Wars, of course. But, like, a significant jump in VFX.
Ryan, I would pick Time Force sequel because I love time travel, and I love... okay, let me rephrase that sentence before I say it. And I'm a fan of consequences. So a ranger being killed right off the bat, pretty cool. Like in the new movie when they killed R.J. Seiler's character Billy, I didn't expect that. And then I was like, they're gonna bring him back, but they brought him back, and it made me cry even more than I was already crying. Like that's good storytelling. Really quick, I didn't fully answer that question. I would just make a movie about Green with Evil because it's ripe for storytelling. You have a villain who eventually becomes a good guy. That's great. Everyone knows the plot, but you can always shift it sideways. Yeah. And then I would also have to say that maybe I would do Soul of the Dragon or Shattered Grid from the comics because, yeah.
I kind of want to talk about Ooze a little bit. I found his character absolutely fascinating as someone who vaguely remembered him, but he's iconic. Like the actor that plays him, the way the makeup on this guy is unreal. And I just kept staring at his little curved goatee intertwined thing.
Yeah, right.
And just
impressive.
his powers I thought were super interesting. The whole Ooze thing. It's a little kitty. It's a little on the nose. It's a little this and that. But I liked the way how he could kind of form these different beings. He's like, oh, go do that. Go do this. He could shapeshift. That was cool.
Yeah.
He could, put his ooze into the, I don't know what the word name for it is. The crazy big, bug-looking.
The power morphicons.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. That's not
evil.
It. Whatever they are.
He said
the evil Zords.
Yeah,
we'll call them.
He called him, maybe the answer be in the chat, but he called him as kind of beings.
Yeah.
There's things, and he put himself in that. That looked a little silly, but and then just and also he was out here being who am I thinking of? Shooting lightning out of his hands, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of sick.
The Emperor.
Yeah.
Unlimited power.
Yeah, literally some Emperor Palpatine stuff just going, and I'm like, what the heck? This guy's awesome. Yep. He had such cool powers. So that actually I think looked cool. The lightning. When he was shooting down the Pink Ranger's I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of scary.
Crane Zord, yeah.
I will say, I think my favorite part of the movie, as someone who hasn't seen it countless times.
Yes. I'm excited for this.
It's between I think two things. It's either that whole section of them with Dulcia on that planet and them getting in those ninja suits, and then I'd skip past them fighting the skeletons part, but
oh, okay, the skeletons, not the rock guys.
No, yeah, yeah, and then them fighting the birds was funny. That I thought that the birds kind of creeped me out. I guess I'm a little scared of birds, and they were these creepy looking things.
Scared of birds.
I don't know, a little they were kind of creepy. Big fan of Dulcia. That whole section was just cool. It kind of I felt up to that point there wasn't a ton of character development, and that really did a lot, I thought. And then honestly, I just think that final when they're going back to the city and they suit up and you finally get the Go Go Power Ranger song hit, I was sitting there I'm not even a huge fan. Yeah. I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. This is one of those cool fan hype moments that I always appreciate. So I'd say between those two, those are my favorites. And then Ooze, honorable mention, because I almost every scene he was in.
Every scene, dude.
I liked when he got into the their little their little bat cave or whatever you want to call it, with Zordon.
When he was with Zordon?
And Rex, the Rex shop.
Power chamber.
And it was just talking to him the whole time. That's where they get the Brady Bunch line. And I thought that was awesome. It was funny how he had that kind of, he's pure evil, but still cracking jokes. I thought he was a really cool character.
So good. Sam, all of them. I won't even lie to you. I would literally choose all of them. I want a full Shattered Grid, crossover. I had to try so hard to move my comic because I didn't want tears on my pages. I'm a little bit of a stickler for my stuff. So I really, really love Shattered Grid. I just want them all to be together because even if it's in a animated series, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Anne-Marie Crouch. You're right. I would love Wild Force. I want Princess Shayla to become a ranger. I'm just saying. Do you know who that is, David? All right, I'll teach you later. We got about 10 minutes left before we have to transition to the next one. Shout out Cody Moore. They were the Ectomorphicons. I appreciate that. It was a lot of syllables. I don't know how I didn't remember it. So I have quotes, notes, and thoughts. My notes are Amy Jo Johnson. Her acting is superb in this movie. I think she transitioned really well from the...
What ranger is she?
Show... Pink Ranger. Yes. Kimberly, sorry. I forgot you don't know names. From the show to the movie, I felt like her transition to that was the least noticeable in terms of, subtleties. Because there's a slightly different tone to the Rangers from the show to the movie, and she balanced that very, very well. Pig Guy sounds like Harley Quinn. Dulcea, this is probably my favorite thing from Dulcea. That's a lie. It's not. Her Obi-Wan Kenobi entrance.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, who is... I'm like, okay, there's this, like, hooded omnibus person. I'm like, who's this gonna be? And then it ended up being Dulcea. I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, unexpected, and then she turns into an owl, and it's like, that's why she's so
And then I guess
wise.
she's, like, really old, because they kind of reference how
is.
it's like, oh, I can't leave this place because I'll start aging like crazy. And
have you seen the 2017 Power
No.
Rangers movie? Okay, well, now you have to see it, but I really want you, when you watch it, to notice how Rita Repulsa's outfit in that and Dulcea's outfit have very, very strong visual similarities.
how did you like that movie, by the way?
Absolutely
You
loved
did?
it. I'm so sad we're not getting a sequel. Yeah, we don't have enough time for me to cry.
Why are they
on
doing a
camera.
sequel? I honestly haven't followed with that.
Hasbro bought Saban, and they've done some math, and they're like, well, we'll just reboot it, and it's... The storyline is they might go, like, do a time travel one, which may be cool. It may not be cool. We'll kind of see what happens. But then also my last note is the soundtrack is pure fire.
Yeah, the soundtrack's really good, especially at the beginning. I'm like,
Action boy now. Action girl now.
yeah, no, I enjoyed the music a lot.
Yes. So I'll jump to quotes. I've said all my quotes except for one. It's leap to our doom. Leap to our doom.
I need to talk about that.
Right?
Because
Okay.
when I'm sitting there and, okay, we have all the parents under this mind spell now because of the ooze and all that. And it gets super dark. Ooze is literally like, hey, go jump off that cliff. I'm sitting there like, what? Go jump off the cliff. This is a kid's movie. This is PG. He's literally telling
That is
them
Power
to
Rangers,
commit
bro.
mass suicide, and we get
Yes.
inches away from it. Like, this is probably just so random for people that really know the movie, but I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, because it was like stunning to me. I'm like, he literally just told them to commit mass suicide, and it was scary.
The best part is it's very scary. I remember as a kid, I was like, I mean, I'd love to party. Like, what kid would be like, no, it goes like, I'm going to stop my parents. I'd be like, no, I wouldn't stop my parents. They never listen to me. But the best part is that they follow it up from, I'm tired of seeing your faces. Go leap to your doom. Yeah. But what's the very next thing? Arrivederci, sayonara, Havidithin, aloha. Like, just
right.
jokes on jokes on jokes, man. Like, that's Power Rangers.
I like when he disintegrated the birds.
Something very horrible. Oh my god, yeah.
But yeah, no, that was freaking scary. And then I forget the little boy's name, but he's doing the whole hose thing, and I'm like, I don't know who. Maybe someone in the chat knows. CyberCon's asking.
He's never seen again.
Yeah.
So
True. Would you want a sequel or a prequel to this movie, or?
I think that might be in reference to the 2017. Yes, to both. I want it all.
Why a prequel? When did
all.
it was it not an origin story?
It was the origin story for those 5 teenagers as Power Rangers. It was not the origin story of the Power Rangers themselves. That was they reference it in the beginning of the movie. Zordon was the Red Ranger. Rita was actually the Green Ranger, which was, like, first off, awesome. Loved it so much. So they like the origin of the Power Rangers, and even in the show they mentioned that in the movie it's been thousands of years. So I think I would personally like, where did the Power Rangers originate from? That'd be wicked awesome. Like, talk about deep cuts. I'd be about that life. There was another question that I saw that was good. Was it maybe? We got from... Oh, what was my favorite Disney Ranger season? I have to go Dino Thunder, and Tommy brought me back in, but Trent is the best, like 100%. That the White Ranger from Dino Thunder has my top. It's my second favorite costume ever, because it's just wicked, and I loved the whole cast. That whole cast in that season, they brought the dinosaurs back. I personally was just that was the last season I watched in full on TV, because I was like, it can't get any better. Yeah. So, all right, we have about 3 minutes left. David, what are some of your final thoughts on Mighty Morphin the Power Rangers movie? Are you a fan now?
Yeah, I would definitely say I'm a fan of the movie. Like, it was enjoyable to watch. Like, it was a fun, flat, like, blast from the past, I would say. Like, just surface level. Like, it was a cool look back at. It was a 90s movie. It screamed the 90s movie. Like, even the clothes they were wearing at the beginning. Like, so that part was so fun.
Flannel.
Honestly, I saw someone said in the chat something about, Sam speaking about having a sequel and getting into kind of exploring different mythologies and expanding. I feel like when I was a dumb kid, I didn't really understand the richness of kind of the universe they have. Like, watching it, I almost felt like there's so much more they could, especially with Zordon, how he's this old, and
yes.
Dulcia, and there's all this stuff where it's like, oh, it goes way back. Like you're saying with a prequel and like getting to the origins of stuff. Super neat. Like, if it was this movie's very flashy, very Ivan Ooze and all that. But if they made a movie or even a TV show that like they make a grounded kind of thing where it's more like a little serious, like that'd be super sick, and have like some really good like actors in there, like yourself and some other fools, and then
Thank you.
We could get a great movie. And so yeah, this movie was fun. Like, I appreciated the like efforts with the CGI, even though it obviously doesn't like stand right now, but like they went for it, especially in that final fight scene, especially kind of with the space stuff. Like, they really like tried and like to make it cool.
Yeah.
And if I was the kid in 1995, I would have been losing my mind watching this, I'm sure.
We all lost our minds in 1995. So I will answer. I don't have thoughts on the Beast Morphers, Cody. I've not been watching it. I think it'll be cool. I'm going to probably check it out. I always watch the crossover episodes because DC shows have spoiled me. Josh, I loved Ninja Storm. If it weren't for Dino Thunder, that would be my favorite Disney era. But Dino Thunder was bomb. Like, super bomb. And I loved the Green Ranger from Ninja Storm also. Obviously, I have a thing for the green. My final thoughts on this movie are, I love it. It's ingrained in my DNA. I know it so well that I still quote it after like 25 years. And I don't remember the last time I watched it in full before last night. But our time's wrapping up. So as we wrap up our live portion of our podcast, because after this, we're going to, David, you're going to have to wait a moment. I'm going to have to do some segueing here and then hop off, and we'll finish our recording to talk about the news really quick, because big news happened. I just wanted to thank you all for tuning into CyberCon. Remember, if you donate, please let us know in the comments. If we raise $2,000, I forgot to tell everyone at the beginning. I was so hyped from Power Rangers in Space. All the money that you would have donated during this panel, I was going to match 1-for-1. So I'm just going to go make a large mass donation myself. I forgot to say that, so my bad, everyone. I was going to match you all 1-for-1. All the money we raise goes directly to the Center for Disaster Philanthropy's COVID-19 Response Fund. You can find their link in the comments. It is Center for disasterphilanthropy.org, I do believe is the exact one. We were hoping you'd give us the donations and we'd send it through, but there's a month paperwork, and we planned this in 3 weeks because, that's what happens when you have a lot of awesome people with Hanging with Web Show, JBauerArt, NSC Live TV, Mark B. Lee, Harlequin Arts, Cosplay and Crafts, some idiot that dresses up as Thor, and a swath and a litany of other people. Thank you to Power Rangers in Space and the Power Rangers guy, Christian Ingram, for helping us get Power Rangers in Space panel together. I think I said Power Rangers in Space. I meant that and Power Rangers in Cyberspace. Totally different things. We are going to go ahead and end. This has been Lights, Thunder, Action Podcast. First ever live one. Thank you for tuning in. You guys can go ahead and drop David down. I'm getting my host mind ready. I love you, David. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
And now it's time. That live section was fun. That's our first live we've ever done, David.
Oh yeah, that was great. I really want to keep that up, honestly. I think maybe reach out if you think you'd actually tune in to like our live feed if we start doing that, because it was fun answering your questions. For those who were tuning in, like I'd love to talk, answer questions about stuff I know more about. Like for me, it was kind of like, oh, Thomas, what do you think? And it would be really cool to talk about, like, answer questions, because I think that's a really fun part about it, is like being able to, answer these questions, get the community involved, and like that was super fun, man. Like I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think we will have to, look into making this a regular thing, and with how in the times that we are currently in, I mean, why not meow? So
exactly.
I concur, and fan questions are like my favorite part of most podcasts that I listen to. It's like, oh, I had that same question. Yeah, I want to know their thoughts. But now we've come to our favorite segment of our podcast here at Lights Thunder Action, and that is What the News?
Oh, what the news this week. So, San Diego Comic-Con is no longer with us for 2020. Not a surprise to me. It seemed like it was going to be going that way pretty soon. There was, it was indications. It's such a big event. Thousands of people, going into these buildings. And right now, that is just not a reality. That's just not a thing that happens. So even when it's normally scheduled for June, we pretty much all knew this was coming. Like, I was expecting this news, but it is now official that San Diego Comic-Con has been closed. So I think we're going to touch on kind of different parts of this, but I think I want to start with just, how I like to think, and movie studios and Marvel and all that. So I'm curious to see how this goes, but I would absolutely love to see Marvel Studios, maybe even DC if they can do something, is to host some sort of online con kind of thing, like almost like a Nintendo Direct. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like Nintendo Directs, they're like, like E3, the big video game convention.
Yeah.
And they so Nintendo started doing these like pre-recorded directs, which are super cool. And it like, at first there was a lot of blowback, but they were honestly ahead of their time. And so instead of like going on stage and being in front of this loud, like, live audience, which is like part of the fun, they changed it. Like, they stopped doing that, and they started just making these pre-recorded 30-minute, like, they would talk and then show a clip of a game and all this. I would love to see a Nintendo Direct style like MCU thing, where we have Feige talking, we have actors talking. All of a sudden, we're getting clips of Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Black Widow, Eternals. Like, we're getting teased and all this stuff that we know is coming, because, last year was the big Phase 4, boom, boom, boom. Here's all the hype. Get ready for the future. This year, they can just really reinforce and get us excited for the MCU to come back roaring, because once theaters do open, like once it is November and hopefully we are in the theater, ready opening night for Black Widow, once that kicks off, I mean, it is just rolling from there. Like, we're going to have 4 MCU movies a year for the foreseeable future, according to their dates, as of right now.
Yes.
So I'd love to see in other places like big movie studios to do Comic-Con like thing, like a direct, a well-made pre-recorded video, showing clips, getting us excited, and that way it wouldn't be so exclusive as it normally is in Hall H,
Yeah.
It would be, so they probably wouldn't show as much fun stuff.
Exactly.
But it would be something for us to remember that this is coming. remind us the MCU is still alive and is going to be hitting us hard when it comes back. And that's something I'd like to see.
Like the Disney Plus Super Bowl commercial.
Right, exactly.
Give me one of those that gives me no plot details. I think I'm the only one that will be a fan of this. Give me no plot details. Give me all eye candy and let me be happy.
Yeah.
Once a month. That's all I want. 30 seconds a month. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, they definitely, I mean, they certainly have the footage from Falcon Winter Soldier. I'd like to see them even almost show. It's curious. We still have had no news, so what the news on any delays with Disney Plus shows, which I'm still kind of waiting for and kind of like what's happening. Speaking of that, did you see that they're releasing a Mandalorian behind the scenes? Like,
bro,
that's gonna be so sick.
And the best part is that's on May the 4th, be with you, and that is they moved up the Clone Wars finale to that day. So instead of having to wait 3 more weeks, which I mean, granted, like I don't want Clone Wars to end, but I'm so excited. You've not watched anything, which is a travesty.
I plan on binging right before the finale.
Because it's a travesty to you because
I heard the last episode was crazy.
Holy shit, dude. Like, there's no censoring abilities. Like, that was so good. I screeched at reading the description, okay? And then within the first 3 minutes, I screeched again at something really cool. Really cool. All I'm going to say is jetpack. And then I screeched again later on in the episode, and all I'm going to say is also jetpack.
Ooh.
But I cried for most of the episode because it was just like, oh my God, this is coming to an end. Oh my God, look at how great this animation is. Oh my God, look at how those lightsabers look. Oh my God, look at this character. What's a good way to put this? Character moment. That's not a.
I know what you're saying though.
It was almost like a send off, but it was more of like a welcome back situation, and I was just like, "There's so much history here," and for us, it's been 7 years or more since we last saw these characters with that character. I'm trying not to spoil it for you.
Yeah.
But we'll say the clones with Ahsoka. We'll leave it at that because that's pretty simple. We know that she left the Order. It's been 7 years for us in real time, so when they come back, it's just got all these added emotions together. Yeah. It was a lot, and then the next sequence I cried was just they could only do it in this season. Like there's like this season right now in 2020, because if they'd have done it before, it wouldn't be the same.
Right.
But it's so smooth, and all I'm gonna say is it reminds me of Thor Ragnarok.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Fun little tease.
There's a specific scene with some ships and explosions, and yes, reminds me of that. And it's so good, and I cried like a baby at 6:30 in the morning yesterday before CyberCon started.
Right. So, what do you think about this whole Comic-Con stuff? Like, what's your reaction?
I'm a realist, so I expected it to happen, especially because California is going to be one of the more strict ones with trying to keep it. They have, especially in San Diego and LA and that region, like, you know, that's a lot of pressure to put on a large populace already. It's like 1 in 100,000, I think, is the odds to get it. And then there's like another 1 in 100,000 odds to die from it. And, you know, in all things considered, you might be like, oh, those are whatever. But when you consider there's like 2 or 3 million people in Los Angeles or something like that alone, that's pretty dangerous. And then when you go to Comic-Con, you got people coming from all around the world. So those statistics are completely more variable, because then you're dealing with a mass variable of one person on a plane coming from, say, let's just say Europe. We'll just say Europe, because we can pick any region of the world right now. And in July, one person on a plane can be sick and infect the entire plane. And if everybody's gotten rid of it, and then all of a sudden it makes a comeback, usually statistically in history, the second surge in resurgence of a disease is always worse than the first.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to be safe. But as a fan, I'm sad. And more importantly, as an artist, as an actor, I'm sad for my friends and friends I've not yet met that can no longer make money because of that. Because there are a lot of actors that make most of their living on Comic-Con appearances, whether it be at San Diego or at these other smaller cons. That's how they earn a living. That's how they, keep their bills being paid, because, not every actor is getting paid to do work when they're in their 80s,
Right.
There's a lot of actors and voice performers that I've met that, they genuinely live off of those cons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bummer that they're not going to be able to make their money, because, I grew up poor and worrying about when the power is going to go off, which we had the power go off a lot. Things happen. It's a scary time to be in when it's like, oh, the power was due in 3 days. Will we have our power shut off? Who knows?
Yeah.
No one wants that. I've been through it. I don't want that for anyone else ever. But that's what I'm really bummed about, more than, not getting news. News will come. It's whatever.
Right.
We'll always have news being filtered to us through the trades and stuff like that. But it's about the people who make a living. And, my heart goes out to them. And hopefully it'll make a faster turnaround. And maybe they'll uncancel Comic-Con. I doubt it, but maybe.
Yeah.
Super fingers crossed.
Yeah.
What else we got on the news docket?
Yeah. So kind of going off of that and, this whole situation. So I think it was, when they're listening, this will be a few days ago that the White House came out with this kind of opening up America again kind of plan, and it's these 3 phases. You can go on the website and read it, literally on like the White House website, and it's basically talking about how slowly but surely, like setting certain like guidelines to reopening as things get better and better, which they are starting to in some areas, get better, and it'll be a state by state basis, and this ties directly to movie theaters, and it's curious to see. Like, I'm curious to see how the regulations for movie theaters will change. Like, I think initially it'll be kind of the way this whole thing like kind of went up. I think we'll see it kind of go down the same way. It won't be no theaters to everyone can enter a theater. It'll be like no theaters to 50% capacity, like things like that, where it'll kind of restrict people. I think in general there's going to be a lot more like sanitizing and like using of masks and gloves for people like dealing with like the food industry, or even like taking your tickets and stuff. I think just everyone's going to be a lot more cautious on the other end of this whole thing. And
I do everything digitally.
Yeah, literally, like
as much as I can, and I hate saying that because it can always go away, but
it's
a
so
lot
true.
Easier.
Adding like Apple Pay or whatever kind of thing, and I mean us with like A-list and just being able to show your little barcode and stuff. I think every business will be trying to do that because people will just feel better about not having to swap cash, which is I mean, if it wasn't already like a no cash world enough, I think by the end of all this it'll be even more greatly, because people are just gonna not want to swap cash, like even just I think I was like buying some food the other day, and I was like, oh, I have cash for it, and then I'm like, or even like taking like swapping a card and getting handed back to me, and I was almost like relieved to see the person I was interacting with wearing gloves. I'm like, okay, good.
Here's my question: were they sanitizing those gloves after every touching of something else?
Exactly. I don't know, but like mentally,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
it made you feel better. It's a mental block.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to be the case. And if anyone wants theaters to be back open, it's me. I love the theater. Like, I'm one of those people that is pro going to the movies. Like, I like the environment. I want Black Widow on opening night, or any big movie, even like Wonder Woman. Like, I want it to be that big crowd.
I want to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want. I was so excited to see Sonic in the theaters with my nephews. And, like, that was the last movie I was planning to go see. And it closed the day before I was going to take them.
Yeah.
So it was like it was like the carrot that was dangling in front of you and just ripped away. It was like, like, I can't wait to go back again. Can't wait to eat popcorn.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm so excited for it to open up. But, again, safely. And here's the thing that, with me, I'm not that worried, in the sense that I usually am always the person who in my family does not get what everyone else has. I don't know why. I'm Thomas just lucky, I guess. But when it comes to going out in places, it's an overconfidence. I'll admit it. But I don't wear the gloves. I don't wear the mask because if I would have gotten it, I'd have gotten it by now. Because of the amount of people that I've interacted with, all the travel I was doing beforehand, and all of that stuff, I would have gotten it by now. And if I would have gotten it by now, my family would have gotten it by now because, I was living with my dad, and my friends would have gotten it, and my boss would have gotten it because they all have health risks. And I didn't know that, I didn't know whether I had gotten it or not because I was traveling, and then I found out about all the stuff that was going on when I got home, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, so for the last, month, I've been traveling to places that have high instances of people having this disease. So the odds were there, and so far, thank the Lord, no one I know has personally gotten sick.
Yeah.
So when theaters open up, I will probably be one of the first ones to go. And I've eczema, so I have to wash my hands regularly. My knuckles are always cracked and bleeding in some way, so I'm very sanitizing of my hands as much as I can, because I've had instances before where, we used to do interviews at the gym. I've shaken people's hands all day, and we forget to get hand sanitizer, and because I had a crack on my knuckle, I got MRSA, and it took about a day to pop up, and I'd washed my hands after, but it had already seeped in.
Wow.
So I've always had to be careful with my hands, and I wash my hands very regularly because I don't like germs. I'm pretty nervous about germs as it is, I notice that everything has germs. That's why I don't handle cash very much, because you never know who is using it beforehand. I don't like to touch other people's keyboards because of that same reason. And to me, my phone is pretty dirty. I won't even lie about that. I sanitized my phone case when there was hand sanitizer. I did it regularly, and I would do my screen too because I have a screen protector.
Right. Yeah. So I guess the bottom line is, we'll see. I think it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how theaters open back up. It'll be along with this kind of process. It'll be in certain places at different times. So it'll be interesting to see how these movie studios, these big studios, react to theaters are open in, I don't know, West Virginia or something,
West Virginia. Sorry, I had to.
A few states, a few Montana, Virginia, South Dakota. Oh, yeah, they're open there. Are we gonna release this movie in theaters now because they're open in 3 states? It'll be curious, and there's no right answers, but it'll be curious to see, especially movies like we were talking about Tenet earlier before we started recording, Mulan. These are movies that are set for July, and that is pushing the envelope right now.
And I think that's the only reason they haven't been postponed yet, is because they're we might be out of that. We might be out before then.
Right.
So, fingers crossed.
Hopefully. So that's basically it. Thanks everyone for listening if you tuned in live for the Power Rangers chat. It's obviously been on this recording right here, and glad you're here with us. That was super fun. Let us know if you think a live show would be fun. I think it's something we're definitely going to look into and might start next week.
We might. I've got expendable income. Disposable income? Disposable income. With all the travel I'm not doing, I've almost bought the streaming service before, and now I'm like, well, I have no reason not to.
Right.
We'll probably, once we end this recording, we're gonna definitely do some business talk.
All right.
But thank you for tuning in to yet another week of Lights, Thunder, Action. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
And I'm David Thompson. Thank you so much.